Hey everybody, welcome to Hammer Bros Gaming. I am Blades of God, and today we're going to be bringing you through the newest Gears 5 Master Escape guide that we have out. Today we're going to be running the Surge. With me, as always, I have Mr. Beardsley and Pyro and for the classes that we're going to be bringing into this map, we have the following. I am going to be running the Protector class, Pyro is going to be running Marksman, and Mr. Beardsley is going to be running Anchor. The Anchor, of course, is set up to do maximum ball talk damage and ball talk bleed. I have a lot of melee damage and melee bleed as the Protector, along with the Great Bubble Shield ultimate, and Pyro is going to be focusing on M-bar damage, critical damage, and explosive headshots. Looking at the modifiers for this map, the Surge, we have more filler enemies, meaning more Juvies and rejects. We have more lethal, more health, more scions, more drones, more Pouncers, and then of course Ironman. So we're going to have a lot of enemies thrown at us in this map, but it's nothing that we can't handle. So right off the bat, if you're familiar with the map, you know that when you come out of the safe room, you're going to have three paths that you can choose from: left, center, and right. For this guide, we are going to be going the left path. The reason that we do this is because we feel it affords us the best cover and the least chance to be flanked, but you'll see that yourselves when we actually get to that part of the map. So step by step here, as we come out of the spawn room, you're going to see that we hug the left wall, and you're going to want to do the same thing. Try to stick as close to this left wall, this left path as possible, because if you don't, you're actually going to have the Juvies from the center pathway come after you, and you're going to see here that I kind of wave Beardsley and Pyro ahead and tell them that I will stay behind and take out these Juvies, because again, I'm running Protector, I have the increased melee damage, so I can take them out in one shot just like that. No big deal, and if for some reason they don't die, the bleed damage will clean them up real quick. So with that, all of the Juvies are now cleaned up. We're going to advance up to where Pyro and Beardsley were already going to work, trying to thin the numbers of the opponents that are blocking our way. Unfortunately, both of them had ended up getting downed, but that's alright. We were able to get them back on their feet, and you can see right here, this is what I was talking about. This left path is terrific as far as not being able to have the enemies get around and flank you, but it doesn't afford you a lot of opportunities to push up and flank the enemies either. Another benefit of staying behind and meleeing down those Juvies is that I was afforded a bubble shield this early in the map. One of the skill cards recharges my bubble shield with every kill within 5 meters, so all of those Juvies that I meleeed down, they definitely help to recharge your bubble shield, and since the bubble shield is basically mobile cover, you're in good shape. You can use that to buy yourself a little bit of breathing room and get yourself moved up, especially in this area where there's not a lot of cover and you get a lot of ground to cover. Speaking of cover, you have to be very, very deliberate about when you move during this section, because as you can see, it's basically a shooting gallery and the enemies just have you in their sights. So pick your times, and when you see an opportunity, push up as much as you can, within reason. You don't want to push up so far that you overextend yourself and catch yourself out in the open where you're going to get downed. But you can see here, I just moved to the right, got a good angle to this piece of cover, and pushed up further. And you should probably try to do the same thing, as that right side is going to have full pillars that you can see right there, and those full pillars give you the best chance at advancing while in cover. So right here you can see we got 3 hunters back there behind that cover. Beardsley's doing his best to try to get some headshots with the ball talk to inflict that bleed damage, but I saw an opportunity where a lot of the enemies were reloading, so I advance, I run up here, and I actually take out all the hunters with the melee. I take out, not that reject, but another reject right there, while Pyro gets the execution, and then we're going to actually hit this ammo room over here. This ammo room has Lancers in it, which would be perfect if you wanted to run, say, the Veteran or the Combat Medic class instead of one of the classes that we recommend. Do beware that when you open up this ammo room, as you can see right here, there is a Pouncer inside of the ammo room, but again, having the Protector go in and use the melee, you can see it really takes him off the board very quickly. So another great thing about coming down this side, and it's one of the reasons that we ran Marksman, is that there is M-bars available in this room. So Pyro, playing our Marksman class, is going to load up on all the M-bar. I'm actually not going to take a weapon here, but Beardsley is going to grab a Lancer just so he has the access to the chainsaw and that insta-kill chainsaw attack. So once everybody's loaded up, everyone should be able to grab at least 1 or 2 frag grenades as well. go ahead and continue to advance. You can see that that early venom is already getting caught up to us, so you don't have a lot of time to wait, but you don't have to keep a super breakneck pace either to stay ahead of the venom. Just keep a decent pace and don't drag your feet too much. So as you come down to this drop-off, make sure you stick to this left wall again. If you go to the right, you can actually draw in and aggro some of the enemies from the other parts of the map, and you really don't want to do that. But you are going to have rifle drones over near the safe room, so again, you can see I popped that bubble shield for the third or fourth time in the first part of the act, and I just go to work trying to get as much melee damage in as I can, bleed out as many of these drones as I can, and then once this is all cleaned out, there's actually another ammo room right before the safe room that you can go in and load up on ammo and explosives. So you see Pyro and Beardsley on the minimap, they've gone in there, they've started to raid that ammo room. I'm actually falling back trying to take out some more of these drones that are taking pot shots and could potentially cause problems for us later on as we try to come out of that safe room. But there we go, they've loaded up. I'm going to grab a little bit more ammo. Not that I use the Talon all that much because, again, I'm a protector, I'm a melee based class. So I tell them, go ahead, load up on the rest of that ammo, no sense leaving it behind. And this is what I'm talking about. You're actually going to see here in just a second that there is a Mulcher Scion who dropped in from the center path, and he's going to start taking shots at us. So you are going to want to continue to get into the safe room as quickly as possible, because that Mulcher Scion will end the run very quickly for you if you're caught unaware. So there we go, we're in the safe room. We're going to go ahead and skip the safe room. There is a few ammo pouches and flash grenades that you can divvy up amongst anybody who needs it. I know that we just grabbed frag grenades, but some people prefer to run flash. I actually think flash is more practical than frag grenades on Master, but everybody has their own, their own thoughts on that. So as we come out of that safe room, we're going to run to the right as soon as the doors open. You want to be through those doors and running to the right as quickly as possible. And the reason you want to do that is because if you're fast enough, you can actually outrun some of the enemies even spawning in on this map. So they won't engage with you, and you're actually going to have an easier time getting through this second act. The strategy for this part of the map is that you're going to want to come up to this kind of hilltop, I guess you'd call it, this spot right here where you see all of us are kind of standing, holding. This is where you're going to want to take out as many of the enemies as possible. I know it sounds a little bit funny because it is sort of wide open, but it's sort of a nice midway point between the enemies that are near the spawn of the second act and the enemies that are going to be holding the pathway to the final helipad hold. There are a lot of enemies here. You end up facing grenadiers, rifle drones, and hunters, and then eventually you even face scions, both Mulcher and Salvo Scions, so you're going to have to be ready for that. But just basically, you're going to want to sit up here as long as possible and take out as many enemies as possible to give yourself as much breathing room as you can. Now's probably a good time to mention the triple melee execution. If you're using a controller to play the game and you have it set up for a standard button setup, push B to melee, B a second time to stun the enemy, and then press and hold B a third time to execute the enemy. This is a great way to clear out a lot of the drones, snipers, and grenadiers, but do be aware that the elite versions of the enemies can tank a hit, and you may not be able to get the full combo in. So here we go, we've cleaned up a lot of the enemies that came up from behind us. I was actually going to try to push forward here, but we got flanked, or I got flanked, and a rifle drone dropped me again. But again, this just demonstrates the importance of teamwork and communication. So I'm going to come around to the right side here. I'm going to go down this ladder and get into what we call the box, this little double counter squared off area. And unfortunately, I actually get downed in here, but this is actually a really good spot to try to get a perspective on what you have left for enemies, and it's usually a fairly safe way to try to advance and split the fire of the enemies so you don't have them all shooting in one area. Unfortunately, Beardsley got down there as well, but what's going to end up happening is we're going to use this right side to sort of advance, and you can see this, it's a long hallway down to the back there, and we're going to kind of post up here right by this, I don't know what you want to call it, doorway or archway, and this is where we're going to take out the first batch of scions, and you're also going to have a few pouncers that come forward, so be ready for that as well. But that doorway right there is where we're going to hold, and you're going to have, I believe it's 2 pouncers, 2 scions, salvo scions, and then in the next, after the next archway, you have 2 Mulcher scions. So There's a lot of enemies still to deal with. You can see that the early venom has already caught up to us, so you do need to continue to push, and that bubble shield, while it is great to keep projectiles out, the enemies can run right through it and melee you like that scion just did to me. But, you know, it's got its place and it's got its purpose, and I just was not paying attention and I managed to get down by that scion who just charged me. But once you take these scions out, grab their salvos. We're going to want to use these salvos to take out the mulcher scions up next. And what we like to do here is have one of our guys, one of our teammates stay to the left, the other one circles around to the right. That way, no matter who the scion is shooting at, or in this case the Pouncer is shooting at, we can get somebody with a salvo putting damage on the next, if you want to call them boss enemies, or, you know, the major enemies. Unfortunately, the second mulcher scion decided to circle around behind us instead of advancing directly at us, so that did put a little bit of a kink in our plans, but not a problem. I ran up, used my melee bleed to drop that scion relatively quickly, and then we had another grenadier come up and try to slow us down a little bit. But you see there, we're right in the deadly venom, and then as we make our way to the helipad, we have two more scions, a mulcher and a salvo scion again, that are guarding the helipad. So Beardsley's going to use his shield here, which is a great play, gets the bleed damage going on those enemies. Pyro's working that M-bar to get the headshots going. I'm going to grab the salvo and come up here and set up on this piece of cover and just get ready for the door hold. Beardsley is going to run up ahead and grab, for whatever reason I couldn't mark it, there's a mulcher right there that the scion dropped. He's grabbing that. Pyro's ready with his frag grenades, and you can see very controlled bursts. I'm not just letting loose with all of the rockets all at once, just a couple rockets at a time, enough to slow down the enemies, trip up some of the rejects, and hopefully he was trying to cause a chain reaction with the poppers. So you can see there the salvo was empty. I dropped the bubble shield again just to give us a place to fall back to, and I tossed my frag grenades in there to hopefully slow them down. We had one Pouncer make it out the door, and I actually thought he was already dead, so I started celebrating, but it wasn't dead quite yet. So a little premature celebration, but not a big deal. That Pouncer's dead, and that is it for the Surge. I hope this helped everyone. Good luck, and until next time, take care. Bye-bye. Hey everyone, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more content like this, please like and subscribe. You can also check us out on Twitch at Hammer Bros Gaming. I am Blades of God, and until next time, have a great day everyone.